Oasis Audio presents The Secret Kingdom by Alan S. Kline and Otis Adelbert Kline. Read for you by John Mclain. Part 1. Chapter 1. The Minions of Hairface. The morning mists hung over the river, making the outlines of the low hills, with their dense tropical vegetation, hazy and indistinct. A dugout canoe containing 2 men pushed its way steadily against the considerable current, hugging the left bank. The rhythmic rise and fall of its prow, coinciding with the almost noiseless backward thrust and forward movement of the blades, gave evidence that the craft was propelled by deft and powerful hands. Suddenly, the half-naked Indian kneeling in the stern raised his spade-like blade and gently prodded his companion in the back. The white man turned, a look of inquiry in his eyes. Placing a finger to his lips, the aborigine nodded toward the bank. His quick ear had caught some suspicious sound. A sinister something flashed past their heads and fell into the water with a subdued gurgle that bespoke sharpness, slenderness, and tremendous momentum. The 2 men immediately bent to their paddles and made for the opposite shore at full speed. Another swift arrow embedded itself in a sack of provisions, its long shaft quivering from the force of the impact. Seizing a rifle that lay in the bow before him, the white man fired several times at the spot from which the missiles had seemed to come. There was no answering cry to show that his bullets had taken effect. No sound, except a timid resumption by the forest denizens of their momentarily silenced babble. The muscle-straining pace was resumed. The canoe, with its occupants fortunately unscathed, but doubly wary because of the ambush they had so narrowly evaded, rounded a bend in the stream and entered a maze of small, thickly wooded islands. Pulling up under the low-hanging bushes that bordered one of these, the men peered out for signs of their lurking assailants. After a time, they proceeded cautiously upstream, keeping always to the right so as to screen themselves from observation, a precaution which the lifting of the mist rendered even more imperative. Though still in his late 20s, the white man, Alfred Bell, had already achieved considerable eminence as a scientist. The imposing array of letters which followed his name on the title pages of his published works spoke clearly of high scholastic attainments. However, the man himself bore not even the slightest resemblance to the stately, sedate individual one looks for in the common or parlor variety of scientist. He was neither bespectacled nor bewhiskered. His forehead, while ample, was not abnormally high. His tall, athletic figure and vigorous movements marked him not as a bookworm, but as a person accustomed to a strenuous outdoor life. In short, he belonged to that rarer, sterner type of men, whose thirst for knowledge drives them to the far corners of the earth to brave danger, privation, and death itself in their efforts to reveal to their fellow men the most securely hidden and jealously guarded secrets of nature. 2 months before, he had been detailed by the Society for Biological Research to penetrate the great, forbidding Brazilian wilderness, there to collect and classify hitherto unknown species of plants, animals, birds, and insects. At the same time, he had believed that he might contribute to the world's geographical knowledge by charting and describing such sections of the country as had not up to that time been explored by civilized men. With Tumba, his native guide, he had proceeded from Para by steamer up the 400-odd miles of the Amazon which felt the effects of the tide. They had taken to canoe travel as soon as the danger of the tidal bore was past, completely, though lightly equipped for their expedition. In spite of his certain knowledge that they were pursued, Bell had time and again dared death at the hands of their mysterious enemies in order to gather valuable specimens. Solely on the basis of 2 singular experiences could he guess at the identity of their murderously minded foes.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?